NBA TV.
You know, Joel Embiid is almost like two humans, and they're trying to make up for that loss. So maybe it explains why they had 6 players on the floor.
Yeah, this is hard to guard, by the way.
Very difficult to match up against.
That's a good offensive scheme right there.
And they get a 3-pointer out of it, and then the Bulls point out, wait, they had an extra guy, and eventually they took that away.
It's one of the new rules of testing out. You didn't hear about
right?
it? Yeah. One of the new
Wow.
6 on 5?
Yeah.
I think my teams would have been better offensively if I could have put that extra guy out there.
You know what? I think that's got a better shot at sticking than Coach's challenge.
You think so?
Yeah. Heat all over the Thunder right now. Remember, Toronto came in on Wednesday night and put up 130 on the Thunder in a win. And tonight it's Miami putting up big numbers early on. Shooting 60% from the field. They've hit 6 of 8 from three-point range. And it's a 40-28 lead. Bam Adebayo with 10 points early on. Let's listen in.
Values of the game.
Well, every time Robinson gets the ball, he is looking to chuck from 3. Olynyk again goes at the body. Muscala fades. And he got the shooter's touch. So Olynyk has come off the bench. He had the made shot with the shot clock winding down under 4. Had another one there. As Diallo tries to attack down low and is going to get the and one as Robinson chips him for the foul. And so Hamidou Diallo, that's a lot of the action that we saw from him for the first, I'd say, month of the season before that hyperextended elbow, where he was driving to the rim, taking on contact, and he's got an opportunity for the three-point play.
And that's also a good way to attack the zone on that backside. Quick strike, you know. Don't dribble the ball in one place. Dribble and move, as Hami did on that play and got to the rim.
Tonight's second quarter replays are brought to you by Delta Dental and Dental Benefits provider for more than
Well, here is Dragic, 6-man for Miami, as he got to the rim with the reverse layup, no good, but Baisley tapped it right back out to Dragic. As he wants the 3, cups the back of the rim, and how about Diallo skying in for that rebound? CP back in the game for the Thunder. Muscala inside Baisley. Thunder trying to break down that Miami defense. Diallo lost it on the way up, and it's taken away. Outside. Flat 3 that time. Is Muscala battling for the rebound, and we get a loose ball foul on Olynyk. Thunder caught a break there after that miss by Robinson.
Yeah, Duncan Robinson. He's missed 2 like that wide open. Maybe that's the key. You leave him wide open, he misses. That's the only 2 he's missed right there. But with a hand in his face, he's pretty good as well. I'm just kidding, folks. See if the Thunder can cash in on that right now. A little bit of slowdown in the Heat's offense.
Well, you thought that the ball movement was going to be something that broke down Miami's offense, as Muscala way off on that 3.
Well, you just got to keep moving it and go from side to side and just, you know, shift the defense from one side to the other.
Well, clearly the 3-point shot.
40-point first quarter for the Heat gave them a 14-point lead. We'll keep an eye on that. Meanwhile, in Indiana, if you're just with us, Karl Anthony Towns returned to the lineup for Minnesota tonight after missing 15 games, and he's been good so far, 9 of 18 for 23 points. But the Pacers lead it 96-92, 26 from T.J. Warren as we listen in late in the third.
Second assist for Aaron Holiday. The Pacers have 21 assists. They're shooting 63% from the field. Okogie cut off. Culver raising up. And Turner, the rebound. Got 2 guys that can handle the ball and push in, Holiday and McConnell, and that's off no good. Rebounded by McLaughlin. I thought that was going to go down because Miles playing with a little bit more offensive confidence here of late. That's short air ball. Turner again, the rebound. Final minute.
Set a good screen to get it back.
Shot clock at 8. Fortunately, tipped out by Culver. When you know it's a high-scoring game, when we still have a minute to go in the third, and both teams, the Pacers, 4 points away from 100.
It was 60-56 at the half. It was going to be high scoring.
Long rebound taken by Culver. Shot clock was winding down.
But to your point, you're looking at possibly 100 in the third. The Pacers get a couple buckets.
Shot clock halfway through. Culver.
Would you other way trapping?
They called it
defensive three
on McDermott.
Defensive 3 seconds.
He's having a conversation with Courtney Kirkland, Gogo Batase coming in.
That's good conversation if you want to have a conversation with an official. But he's the one that made the call.
Kogi comes off the bench. She's got 12. Indiana's won 2 straight, 7 of 11 overall, 7 of 10 here at home. They won here a year ago. Ironically, with the road win on Wednesday, the road team in this series has won 6 of the last 8 and 8 of the last 11. I remember a few years ago when Jeff Teague played for the Pacers. We saw him Wednesday night with Minnesota. Remember the Ricky Rubio foul? He made the free throws to win it for Minnesota. Rubio now in Phoenix. We'll see him next Wednesday.
Good job. Really good job. That is all made by T.J. McConnell, forcing that defense to have to collapse. And then the rotation late on the part of Minnesota.
Another 3 for the Pacers. They're 8. Okogie.
62% shooting for the Pacers. They have the lead after 3. In Cleveland, or actually in Memphis, the Cavs are on an 18-2 run. And they've come back to take a lead 38-29. That was Dante Exum. Remember, Dante Exum's a Cavalier. Remind yourself sometimes. In Toronto, the Wizards defense giving up big numbers again, 54% shooting. Kyle Lowry locked and loaded for 3. Raptors have put up 88 already with 4 minutes to go in the third quarter. And in Philadelphia, Bulls in town, Furkan Korkmaz. 77-68 there. Korkmaz with 18 off the bench. He's 6 of 7 from three-point range. That's Trae Young. That's range. Hawks going for a season sweep of the Spurs. Underway in San Antonio, where the Spurs are trying to avoid a season sweep by the Atlanta Hawks. Down goes Trae Young. DeJounte Murray to the rim. Hawks lead at 15-12. As the Spurs try to claw their way back into the playoff picture. You know, they've got this historic playoff streak going at the moment, but they are a game out of the 8th spot as things stand. When you look at this roster and you look at the teams they're competing with in the West, should they be a playoff team?
Should? No,
Yeah.
I don't know about should. I don't think that's fair to them and that level of expectation based on their roster. I actually think if Zion's able to come back and be healthy, the teams below Oklahoma City from 8 on down, I think New Orleans has the best roster. But obviously they've had to play half a year without what we presume to be their best player.
Right.
So that's tough, but I think they have the best roster.
And a bunch of other injuries as well. They had a game last week where they were missing 4 starters.
Absolutely, but Brandon Ingram has become, in my mind, an all-star level player. They've got good veterans, J.J. Redick and Jrue Holiday, a good interior defensive presence in Derek Favors, so they've got enough veteran guys around those young guys. Lonzo Ball is playing better. I like that roster. And then Portland is an experienced threat that's been there before. They're down on their numbers, but don't bet against Dame Lillard and C.J. McCollum. So, no, I think it'd be a significant accomplishment if San Antonio could be in there. It's definitely not a should.
You guys know you got to pay the piper sooner or later, right? And for San Antonio, this has been this unbelievable 2 decades of success. It appears that time is, if it's not now, it's really close. They're in a weird situation.
Yeah, I mean, they're in a predicament where we're talking about star players shuffling over the summer and going to different places. Well, they got an all-star in DeMar DeRozan to pair with another all-star, a guy who's been an all-star enough in his career to be considered one, in LaMarcus Aldridge. But this team's not crafted around these 2 guys and what they do best. This is a team that plays in a very specific system under Greg Popovich, and they've had to kind of shoehorn what they do into what the Spurs are trying to do. So, I mean, I don't think you look at them and say, well, this team was built around these guys, and therefore they're going to be this type of team.
Right.
This is kind of a stopgap thing. I wonder, too, if you're the Spurs and you've been playing at a certain level in a certain way for so long, how do you change course? You know, if it's that same
I agree. That's hard.
ideology for year after year. You just assume players are always going to be able to plug in that.
Gone, namely Kawhi
And I don't know where
Leonard,
they're
and
going.
injuries
I mean,
remaining
that's the other
so
tough
far.
choice
The
there
Raptors-
for Greg Popovich and Brian Wright. I mean, I think it's tough, right? I mean, because here they are, they're in the 9th spot, fighting to get into the 8th spot. 4 of their 5 leading scorers are over 30 years old. This isn't a team with a great deal of real young talent. I mean, DeJounte Murray, Lonnie Walker, you know, Jakob Poeltl and Bryn Forbes are still fairly young, but not real young.
Yeah.
I don't know where they're headed, and everybody's sort of waiting to see if they're going to stay the course and fight for that 8th spot, or if this is the year that they try to sell off some of these veteran guys to teams with title hopes and get draft picks and younger players back. I think it'll be interesting to watch.
It's hard to imagine Greg Popovich being interested in that at this point in his career, right? I mean, a full-on rebuild. The coaches like to say they love to teach and everything, but really what they like to do is win games.
Well, I mean, but if you had a choice, Kawhi Leonard didn't want to be there anymore. So
Right.
you're subtracting a Finals MVP. Now it turns out a 2-time Finals MVP,
Yeah.
2-time champion. But once that happens, the decision is basically taken out of your hands if you're Greg Popovich. Now you almost have to figure out a way to recalculate and kind of figure out where to go with the team. It's really not a choice.
Well, that's all happening, but in the short term, you know, do you want to make the necessary moves, the sacrifices to build for the future? That's the tough call there right now.
No, I do. I think it's a very tough call.
Crunch time is coming up on the other side of the break in just a few moments' time. In the meantime, we'll leave you with the top plays of the first half of this season. That's right, we're halfway through.